This video is designed to get you off and running in a good fashion for our online summer course. And I want to introduce myself. I will be the person you'll see very often on videos as we work through the material. I'm Dr. Kim Woodrum, and I'm a senior lecturer here at the Department of Chemistry at the University of Kentucky. General Chemistry 1 is a course that is a 4-credit-hour course. And what we tell our students very typically during a regular semester class is you can anticipate 2 to 3 hours outside of class for every hour you're in class. That would be with a 4-credit-hour class, we'd say 4 to 12 hours each week. Now we're doing this in the summer, so you can anticipate doubling that. So expect to spend 25 to 35 hours every week on this class. I want to walk through and tell you what you will be doing with that content as you go about your work. This video is your first assignment, so you're watching it, you're going to be answering questions that are embedded in this video as we go along. So what does it take to succeed? Well, you have to learn chemistry. My primary goal is to get you to learn chemistry. Not for me to teach chemistry, but for you to learn. And there's a lot of different ways that I will try to instill into you learning. We're going to watch videos. I'll talk about that process. There will be times that you're going to want to read your textbook, and I'll talk about that process. And you have got to spend a lot of time on task solving problems. And I'll talk about that process as well. So let's begin with, what does it say there? Work, work, work. You just got a lot to do to keep yourself busy. Let's start by talking about the watching of the videos. This is 10% of your grade. Within this, you'll see a picture of what it kind of looks like to see me teaching by way of this means. I'll have a PowerPoint presentation for you to be looking at. I'll be working on the problems. Very often on the screen here, I will be working the problems for you. So this is going to be the most common way for me to deliver the content is by way of these videos. It's important that you do it as a brain-on watching. This is not watching a movie on Netflix where you watch it play and you sit back and you're unengaged. You have to be very engaged, and you've got to really turn that brain on and think about the words I'm saying, the stuff you're writing down, and you are actually stopping that video. You're restarting it, you're rewinding it, you're rewatching it every time that something doesn't make sense. You've got the advantage over an in-class lecture that you can stop me and you can notice, hey, I wasn't paying attention. What did she say? Or I cannot keep up with this writing. Let me stop and let me write it. Speaking of writing, I will provide for you a PowerPoint shell. It will have some of the information. It'll have images. It'll have the questions that we're going to work together already written down for you. I would recommend that you copy those pages and have them in front of you as you watch. Now, you don't have to. You can write everything down, and that's going to take a lot more starting and stopping. But if you've got images and you've got graphs and you can just annotate onto those, it'll save you so much time. So you're going to take those notes. They're going to be embedded questions within the videos. Now, these questions are going to be graded for accuracy. They are not typically, rocket science questions. They are, were you paying attention? Did you get that? Can you answer this question? Sometimes it will be, let's think back to several lessons ago. This is something we're going to use. Go ahead and stop the video. Look back at your notes. And every once in a while it will be, okay, we've calculated it, can you calculate it? And you will follow my lead and try to do one yourself. So you're going to have a wide variety of those embedded questions in there. If you get them right, you get the points. You get them wrong, you don't get the points. And so that's how you'll get a grade for watching the videos. Now, I will drop your 3 lowest videos. You'll have many, many, many to watch. Okay, so at first it seems like you're never going to get a good grade, but you'll have so many to watch. You'll have opportunities where some of them will be easy to get 100% on, some of them not so much. But I will drop the lowest 3, and then if you have, as an average for these videos, an 85, it will turn into 100% at the end of the semester. So that's your goal. pay close enough attention that you can get over an 85% after we drop those 3 lowest, and you will have 100. So why do I want you to be allowed to drop 3? Not because I don't want you to watch 3, but sometimes you have technical difficulties. I would assume when you're dealing with online technology, sometimes you forget a deadline. Try to watch them all because all your content is being delivered and you need to know that information. Now, these videos are available to you up until the exam that you take on this. And if you do them late, they'll be counted half off. Okay, so maybe I'll make them do 1 day, you do them 2 days later, you're late, you're going to get counted half off. However, they're still available for you to watch. Once the test has come due, you can't watch them again, but you might want to watch them several times before or after that to prepare yourself for the final exam. I always have available to you a link to my YouTube channel that has those videos. You can watch them anytime you want without the embedded questions within them. So that's 10% of your grade. Another way that you're going to learn is by reading your textbook. Sometimes you just need another perspective. You've heard me talk about it, you've watched the video, you've taken notes, you've read your notes, it doesn't make sense. Your textbook is another perspective, another way of looking at the information. So make sure you're utilizing your textbook, especially on areas that you do not understand. It also is very full of practice problems. You work this, you see how they work through a problem, then they give you an opportunity to do that same problem, but with different numbers, or a very similar problem as the one that is an example problem. There's also many, many questions at the end of the chapter that you can work. I'm also going to be from time to time saying, okay, I'm not covering this, but you have to read and be responsible for it. If I tell you that, that means it will possibly be on the exam and you really do need to know that material. So I want you to be able to build your understanding by reading. I don't typically make those really difficult concepts to read and understand, but there are going to be times throughout the semester that I want to say, okay, this is yours. You read, you understand. And anytime you don't understand what you're reading, always know that you can ask questions. All right, the other thing that's very important for this class is being able to problem solve. It's one thing to know the theory and the ideas that underline the problems, but you also have to work the problems themselves. I want to give you 2 means by which to become a better problem solver. One of them pertains to your recitation grade. There is a recitation. Now, typically for recitation, that means you go to a small class environment, you have a TA who's walking around helping you with problem solving. This is an online class, so we don't have that opportunity. However, we do have assignments for you to work. This is 5% of your grade. These are assignments that you're going to actually write. You can either write in such a way that you're digitally taking notes on maybe your iPad that you can upload, or you can take a picture of it and upload. I want to see the handwritten work. You want to start with these assignments. Then you're going to move to our online homework. And this online homework is performed through a website. It's called Sapling. You'll link to everything by way of Canvas. For this Sapling, there's going to be many, many assignments for you to work. These assignments are such that you can try. If you don't get it right, you get to try again. There's minor dings for getting it wrong the first time, but never worry about those little dings. Okay? Because your goal is to really learn, and the way you learn is you try your hardest, you see if you got it right, you look at the hints if need be, there's no deduction for looking at the hints, and keep working your way through. What I see students do that really don't become good problem solvers is they go to an alternate website and look at how somebody else worked the problem and then put the answers in. That does not help you learn. The way you learn is by you trying and seeing what you can do. Your whole goal is to learn this stuff, not to mimic somebody else who's done it already. Now with Sapling, I will again drop your lowest 4, and I don't do the bump up, but I drop the lowest 4 assignments, and that'll help your grade if you forget one, or if you have technical issues, or you're out of the ability to get online for a day. Know that you do have an opportunity to do that. So you can do the recitation problems, start with those, and the online homework, and then never think that that's enough if you still don't have it. Please go to your textbook and find additional sources of information. Now you're going to need help many times in this class. So how do you get class help in here? Well, you can always post questions in Piazza. Piazza is a question and answer site in Canvas that you'll see on the left-hand side of the screen when you get in there. You can post questions. You can answer other students' questions. That is a really good way to learn, is to articulate how to work through a problem. Don't show them how to do a problem, get them started, give hints. If it's a conceptual concept, you get what I mean. If it's a conceptual, feel free to explain it out. But answer each other's questions. I will look at the end of the semester at who was helpful to other students, and I can offer bonus points for doing that. I'll make sure that all questions that are posted the day before are answered by me by 9 a.m. the following day. Now, if another student has already answered it, I'll give it a thumbs up if it's right, or I'll edit it if there's some errors to it. But I'll make sure I've gone through all of those. Now, very often I'll be checking them throughout the day, but I'm only promising I'll have them answered by 9 a.m. the following day. If you ask questions, show me what you've tried, show me what you've thought. Explain your thinking so that when you post a question, I know what your misconception is, where you've gone off track, and I can guide you. Don't just say, I don't know how to do problem number 3, okay? Tell me what problem number 3 is and post for me what you've tried, what you've thought about, so that I can, as I said, guide you. Now, that's how you ask questions about the content. If you have personal matters you need to discuss with me, that's my email address. My email address is not for asking chemistry content questions, because I want you asking questions that everybody can benefit from your question and then can benefit from my answer. But if you have personal issues outside of the content itself, that's my email address. You need to get help in a timely manner. Don't let anything build up. Now, I want to communicate with you from time to time, not just by way of Piazza when I'm answering your questions, but pertaining to the course itself, things that are coming up, policies you need to be aware of, who knows what they might be, but I will always do this by way of an announcement in Canvas. What you want to make sure you do is you set up Canvas so that you get those notifications sent directly to you. It can be sent to your email, it could be sent as a text to your phone, you can set it up as a Twitter feed. There's all sorts of different ways to do that, and I will direct you as how to do that in Canvas as we get started. But be aware that I will communicate with you a lot, and I don't want any time to go by between my posting of that information and you receiving it. Now, the big chunk of this class is for you to demonstrate to me that you have learned something, that you demonstrate to me that you understand the chemistry that we've covered, that you are capable of solving problems for me. So that is the lion's share of this grade. It is important that you do sapling. It helps you learn. It is important that you watch the videos. It helps you learn. It is important that you do those recitation assignments. It helps you learn. But the biggest thing you can do is show me that you've learned by doing well on our exams. So what are the exams? We have 3 of them. There's 3 exams. They're worth 17% each, okay, of your grade. So that is going to be spread out throughout the semester, a few chapters each exam. There's going to be 1 comprehensive final. This is going to be worth 24% of your grade. That comprehensive final will be over the whole semester. Now, the one thing that we do for you that is helpful for many students is we give you an opportunity to replace your lowest grade of those 3 exams. So let's say exam 2, you just really did not get that understanding and you did not demonstrate understanding with a good grade. If you can get that information and understand it by the final exam, I will look at part 2 of the final and say, what is your percent score on that part 2? And if it's better than your exam 2 score was, it'll automatically replace that grade. And once it replaces it, it could go from a 42 to a 92. The sky's the limit. It could be 100% if you really get it completely right. Then we'll look at your overall percentage score of the full exam, and that will be your final exam score. So you have a huge ability to impact your grade right up to the very end with your final exam and with replacing your lowest exam. But you need to make sure you understand that everything I lay out for you to do is all about learning the material, not about getting a grade, because what's getting a grade is this big chunk, the exams. So if you're just doing the homework as I'm going through motions, or you're just watching the video and going through the motions, or you're having somebody else tell you what to do and you're not learning anything, it's not going to help in this portion of your grade. Now, when you take your exams, you have a couple opportunities. You will either have to go to a proctoring center. This costs some money for you to do. There are ones all over the country, even in other countries if you're going to be overseas, but you have to find your own proctoring center. You pay to verify that you are taking the exam without anything else. Or you can, as a free option, come to the University of Kentucky and you can take the exam with our in-class, those students who are taking the class, not as an online class, but as an in-person class. So if you want to come onto campus and you're in, near Lexington, that wouldn't be a hardship for you, you could come onto campus and you could take it free of charge with our other students. So that is kind of an overview of the course, what to expect. And know that, like I said, I'm Dr. Woodrum. I am very interested in helping you through this class, so don't hesitate to ask questions. Don't hesitate to get help.